Hello everyone, I'm Natalie and I'm going to be presenting on plastic in the ocean. Think again before you use another single-use cup, and think again before you use another straw. And realize that one day that could end up in the ocean and possibly in the mouths of a marine animal. Or they could be tangled up in it or choking on it. These problems are affecting our world a lot today because of our overuse of plastic and how much we are producing of it. An article released from IUCN November 2020 reported that 300 million tons of single-use plastic is produced yearly, and that's only single-use plastic. That's plastic that will end up going in the ocean and end up harming not only the sea animals but also us and our climate, which is what I'm going to get into today to persuade you guys why we should cut back on how much plastic we are using because it is affecting our world. China Dialogue on June 30th reported that in 2020 reported that 8 million tons of plastic are produced yearly, and that's equivalent to a truckload dumped into the sea every minute of the day. That clearly shows just how much is being released into our oceans. Now let's address the main problems, which are sea animals, the food we're consuming, and climate change, which all those are being affected by plastic in the ocean. For example, in sea animals, plastic in the ocean, such as the little nets that come to carry your soda cans, when the animals digest them, National Geographic on July 2020 explains to us that it blocks the digestive tracts and makes the animals so they don't want to eat and end up dying from starvation. In regards to our food, Ocean Conservancy in August 2020 showed us that plastic chemicals are contaminating our water and our fish. They studied under a microscope that fish, just from the supermarket, had little pieces of plastic in it, and also the seawater got tested and it had levels of chemicals that come from plastics. And lastly, the most long-lasting problem that plastic in the ocean is causing is climate change. National Geographic, July 2020, which these are all separate articles, stated that all plastic is incarcerated, therefore it produces greenhouse gases. Every single time plastic is made, it comes from fossil fuels, which have to be burned, therefore adding to the carbon emissions in our atmosphere. Now, I know I discussed a few of these causes already, but let's get more into some of the specific causes that are making these problems with our food, animals, and our climate so concerning for us. National Geographic in June 2019 said that animals in the sea, marine animals, are mistaking our plastic for their food. They think that it looks like plankton, fish, bivalves. And that brings me to another point, that Ocean Society in May 2020 reported that as the plastic we use goes through the wind and in waves and finally gets tumbled into the sea, it turns into microplastics, which are really small and look almost identical to plankton, bivalves, and little fish, and fish aren't able to tell because they're so small, they just eat them right up. And why that is affecting us is because we eat those fish and we also are in that seawater. The National Ocean Service on July 2020 says that microfibers form microplastics, which then microfibers are also from our clothing, our synthetic clothing, and things such as fishing nets. But those microplastics absorb pollutions, and those are later released into the seawater. And those plastics are also being absorbed into the fish which we are eating. Another cause is the plastic being made is producing greenhouse gases, therefore contributing to our climate change. As I said previously, whenever plastic is made, fossil fuels are burned, which go into our atmosphere and add to the carbon emissions. So obviously, see, this is a big problem concerning us right now, and we need to take action soon. So what are steps we can do to do that? WWF Australia on June 30th, 2020, shared with us that implementing waste collection can prevent food chain contamination. Other ways we can also prevent the plastic in the ocean increasing is by reducing how much we use. It's obvious that we as humans are using too much, whether that's you going to Starbucks daily or deciding to go pick up a soda. We need to reduce on how much we're buying and use things such as glass. We also need to reuse. Those single-use items can be reused more than once. I know I personally take all my single-use cups I've ever used from restaurants home, and I decide to use them again. And it's also nice because you can throw them away at a later time. Ocean Society on May 28th, 2021, tells us to refuse single-use items. This is our main problem for the plastic in the ocean because we just use it once and throw it right away, and that's why it ends up in our oceans. I encourage everyone to make their own choice into being conscientious on how much plastic you are using and how you are using it. Thank you for listening to my presentation.